Is your trigger holding you back? Let's find out. Hey guys, this is Craig with Patriot Training Center, and today we're gonna talk about triggers and the different types of triggers and whether or not they affect your shooting at speed. So I have 4 different guns here that I'm gonna be shooting with. Each of these have completely different triggers. Some I like, some I don't like. So we'll go through that right now real quick. This is my personal carry gun. It is the Glock 19 with the Glock Performance trigger. This one's really nice. Just gonna see how this feels. I mean, I know how it feels, but it's a nice, smooth trigger. Has next to no take up and a very crisp trigger. I love this trigger, so I think I'm gonna shoot a little bit faster with this trigger just because it's the one I'm very accustomed to and I love it a lot. Next up is the stock Glock trigger. I used to run one of these before I got my performance trigger. I'm not a big fan of these ones. It has a somewhat of a take up and then a super harsh trigger. I'm not sure how well I'm gonna shoot with this one and how fast I will, but maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe this one will be the best one out of them all. All right, next up is the Walther PDP. It has such a nice trigger. It's just so smooth, so crisp, and next to no take up. I mean, it is just a great trigger. Honestly, I think this one might be better than my Glock Performance trigger. I think this one's gonna beat it. I think this one's gonna be the best one out of all of them. Hopefully, my Performance trigger still comes up, but I think this is the one I'm gonna beat it with. Okay, last but not least, the Smith & Wesson M&P trigger. I think it'll do okay. I think that the Smith has a somewhat clunky trigger. It's super gritty compared to these other ones. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I think it's an okay trigger. It's just super gritty. How are we going to be testing each of these triggers to see which one comes out on top? The way I'm gonna do it is I'm going to shoot 6 into a IDPA scoring zone. I'm going to try to shoot it as fast as physically possible to see what score I get. And then I'm going to average out all of these split times to see which one has the best overall split time. And then we're gonna see who comes out as king on top of that. Hopefully, I think it's going to be the Walther. But if it's not the Walther, I think it's going to be mine. But I guess we'll see. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so up first is the Glock, my carry gun with the Glock Performance trigger. I'm gonna be running my own shot timer. We're just gonna do this at 3 yards again, so I don't have to worry about verifying my sights too much. I can just look at this target and using aiming reference. We're gonna do shooting it from the low ready, 6 shots as quick as physically possible. And we're timing this by the splits. So drawing out to the ready here, just checking to make sure I'm ready. So that felt pretty good. My splits on that was 17, 18, 17, 20, 23, and my draw to first shot was .36. So not too bad. Well, now we're gonna try it with the stock Glock and see if that changes any. Again, this is a Glock Performance trigger, so it's a little bit better. I personally like it, but we're gonna see what happens. Okay guys, I'm loaded up with the stock Glock. Just to make sure that we're all clear here, I had a 36 draw to first shot with my carry Glock. I had a 23 split, 20 split, 17 split, 18 split, and a 17 split. So we're gonna see if I can't keep it pretty normal. I'm just gonna try to run the gun as fast as I can and we'll see what happens from there. Drawing out to ready here. All right. The splits on this one was 19, 20, 17, 20, 22, and a .37 draw to first shot. So about the same, maybe like 0.02 on some of those. But again, it's not really making too big of a difference. You're not gonna notice it unless you're running a shot timer. So we're gonna move on to the Walther. Okay guys, we're loaded up with the Walther here. Same thing, I'm gonna run it as fast as I can for 6 shots and we're gonna check the splits afterwards. All right, splits for that one was a .42 draw to first shot, a 19 split, a 20 split, a 19 split, and then a 20 split, and then another 20 split. So there's not much of a difference. Again, those probably all sound the same, and again, you're not really gonna notice it unless you have a shot timer on there. So far, trigger's not really mattering. My fingers are getting super tired here, but we'll move on. So we're gonna go get the Smith next, and we're gonna try the same thing. All right, the Smith & Wesson Compact. Let's see what it can do. All right, so the splits for that one was a .41 draw to first shot, a .21, a .20, .19, .20. So I don't feel much of a difference. I'm gonna go put this up and I'll tell you my thoughts. Okay guys, we just got done with shooting all of the pistols and keeping track of all of the split times so we can determine which one is best. So, like I said in the beginning, we're going to average up each of the split times and we're gonna get our average split time and then we'll compare those to see which one might be better. So, for example, the Glock Performance trigger, I shot a 17 split, 18 split, 17 split, 20, 23, and 36 split. That gives me a total time of 1.31. Averaging those numbers up gives me an average par time for the Glock Performance trigger of 0.21. It's pretty good. That's not too shabby, below quarter-second splits. And then for the stock Glock trigger, I got a total time after adding up all of the split times of 1.35, and the average split time for that was 0.22. The average split time for the stock Glock is only 0.01 slower for me in split times than my Glock Performance trigger. So moving on to the Walther, I had a total of 1.1 seconds in my total split times, and I got an average of 0.233. Now, why did I round to the nearest thousandths for this one? Because the Smith came in at a total of 1.14 with an average split time of 0.235. So with the Smith being 0.235 and the Walther being 0.233, the Smith only being a 0.002 slower, does that necessarily mean the Walther is a better trigger? Yes and no. Yes, because on a shot timer, or when you do the math, yes, it's quicker. But in reality, are you really noticing that 0.002 difference? No. All that's to say is, do triggers really matter? If you're really looking at that extra tenth or that extra thousandth of a second, yes. If not, then no. I'm perfectly fine with a Smith trigger being 0.002 slower than any of these ones because I don't notice it, okay? You're not gonna notice that extra 0.002 of a second without a shot timer or doing the math. So how can you find the best trigger for you? Dry fire. Dry fire is the best way of figuring out the gun that is right for you and the gear that is right for you. So down below, we have a free 30-day dry fire program. Go down below, check that out, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.